I never expected her to remember my name, let alone the way I drink my tea. It was always the same routine. After work, I'd stop by the small grocery on the corner, buy a ridiculous amount of instant noodles, and pretend I wasn't avoiding going straight back to my room. Her house was on the way. My friend used to live there. I hadn't seen him in months, but somehow his mother still noticed when I walked past. That day, it was raining lightly. Not loud rain. The kind that makes the road look clean, but your shoes still get wet. She was outside, shaking a small rug over the railing. "Cold out," she said, without looking at me. "Yeah," I replied, because I never know what else to say to adults who are too kind. I noticed she'd tied her hair up. A loose knot. Strands escaping. She looked tired, but in a way that felt familiar. Like the tiredness you don't complain about. I shifted the bag in my hand. The plastic made that cheap, crinkly sound. "You still walking everywhere?" she asked. "Mostly," I said. She nodded. Just once. Like she'd expected that answer. Inside, everything felt quieter than normal when I got back to my place. The fan ticking. The weak light from my phone. I typed out a text to someone I hadn't spoken to in weeks, then erased it. Threw my phone on the bed. Picked it up. Put it down again. That's what loneliness looks like, I think. Not crying. Not dramatic music. Just a lot of unfinished movements. The days after that were small. I'd see her sometimes when I walked past. Sometimes she'd wave. Sometimes she'd just stand there with her arms folded, watching the street like she was waiting for a bus that didn't run anymore. One afternoon, she stopped me. "You look thinner," she said. I shrugged. "Maybe." She gave me this look. Not accusing. Not soft either. Just noticing. She reached out and straightened the collar of my hoodie. Her fingers barely touched my neck. She pulled her hand back fast, like she'd touched something hot. "Sorry," she said. "It's okay." But it wasn't really okay. Not because it felt bad. Because it felt like something I didn't have words for. I started doing stupid things after that. Like taking the longer route home just so I'd pass by her gate. Or slowing down if I saw her shadow through the curtains. I would look at my phone without unlocking it, just to give my hand something to do. One night, I called the wrong person. I'd saved her number months ago when my bike broke down, and she'd helped me call a mechanic. I don't know how my thumb slipped. Or maybe I do. It rang once. Twice. Then stopped. I stared at the screen until it went dark. I didn't call again. Days went by. Normal days. Quiet days. She acted the same. Or maybe I did. We talked about weather. About groceries. About how fast time goes. She never mentioned the call. I started to think she hadn't seen it. Then one evening, when I was unlocking my room, my phone buzzed. A message. From her. It was short. "Did you mean to call me that night?" I sat on my bed, holding the phone, staring at the words. My other hand was folding the corner of an old receipt without realizing it. I didn't know what to type. I still don't. And that's when I realized this wasn't going to stay small. I didn't reply to her message that night. Not because I didn't want to. Because I didn't know which version of myself to reply as. The one who called by accident, or the one who stared at the ceiling after. The next morning, she was in the small front garden, trimming leaves that didn't look like they needed trimming. "Morning," she said. Morning. We stood there like two people pretending we hadn't almost said something important. She poured tea without asking. She'd started doing that recently. Just held out a cup like it was normal for me to sit on the steps outside her door. I wrapped my hands around it. It was hotter than I expected. "My son used to sit here," she said suddenly. I didn't look at her, but I felt her glance slide toward me. "He'd spill everything. Tea. Thoughts. Useless drama." She smiled, but it faded quickly. "He doesn't come by much now." I nodded. I knew that kind of sentence. The kind you drop and hope someone catches. "I don't really have many people who wait for me," I said, and surprised myself. She didn't say sorry. She didn't say that's not true. She just listened. The silence wasn't awkward. It was heavy, but not uncomfortable, like a blanket that was a little too warm. That's when I thought about all the reasons I shouldn't be there. Her age. Her house. Her son. The fact that my shoes were still under her table like they belonged. She reached across to move a spoon, and her hand brushed my fingers. It was nothing. It was everything. We both looked at the table after. "You should tie your laces," she said, as if that explained something. "Yeah." She leaned down and did it anyway. That's when it hit me, how dangerous something small can be. Her fingers moving slowly. Her breath calm like it didn't mean anything. My jaw tightening so I wouldn't move. After that, I started imagining things I shouldn't. How it would feel if she said my name softly. If she got angry at me for staying too long. If she stopped pretending it was normal. I hated those thoughts. I never told them to stop. One afternoon, it started raining while I was there. Loud rain. Real rain. We didn't move inside. We just sat and listened. I never thought I'd live like this, she said, staring at the wet street. So quiet. So unfinished. I didn't ask what she meant. I didn't need to. I thought I'd be different, I said. She looked at me then. Actually looked. Her eyes softened, but not enough to make it easy. You're not strange, she said. You're just early. Something in my chest shifted. It wasn't comfort. It wasn't hope. It was being seen. Before I left, she straightened my sleeve. You always walk too fast, she said. I smiled. It felt wrong to smile. I did it anyway. At the gate, she said, almost like a joke. You'll forget me when you grow up. I looked back. I don't think so. She laughed quietly, but her eyes stayed on my face longer than they should have. I don't know why that moment stayed with me. Maybe because it felt like someone finally saw me. She started closing the gate. Not slamming it. Not locking it. Just closing it earlier than usual. I noticed the first time because I was still down the street when I saw it half shut, like a decision she didn't finish. I slowed my pace, then slowed it more, like maybe the air would explain something. She looked surprised when she saw me. Oh, she said. I thought you'd already passed. I hadn't. We didn't sit on the steps that day. We stood. Distance between us. Not much. Enough. I've been busy, she said, even though she used to never say that. That's okay, I said quickly. Something had shifted. I could feel it in the way she folded her arms. In the way she didn't straighten my sleeve. 2 days later, I saw my friend's bike outside. That's when I understood. He was inside. I walked past the house like I didn't know the shape of it by heart. That night, I couldn't sleep. The fan clicked the same way. The ceiling had the same crack. I typed messages to no one. Erased them. Thought about things I wasn't proud of thinking. Her hand near mine. Her voice when it softened. The way she said my name once when she thought I wasn't listening. The next time I saw her, she came to the door slower. You could see the pause in her fingers on the handle. He came by, she said. I nodded. Good. She nodded too. Quick. As if that was settled. We sat at the small table, but she stayed on the opposite side this time. A cup of tea between us. Untouched. Cooling. I folded a napkin. Unfolded it. Folded it again. People talk, she said quietly. I didn't ask who. I don't want you to misunderstand things, she added. I'm not, I said too fast. Silence. Her eyes dropped to the table. My hands. The edge of the cup. I watched her wrist as she shifted her sleeve down, like she was trying to disappear into it. I wanted to say something honest. Something clean. Something that didn't sound like danger. Nothing came out. A knock at the door startled both of us. She stood up quickly. Too quickly. A neighbor's voice floated in. Borrowing sugar. Borrowing time. By the time she came back, her chair felt colder. Her shoulders tighter. That evening, the power went out. Not for long. Just long enough for the room to hold its breath. The only light came from the phone in her hand. A soft glow. She sat closer this time without noticing. Or maybe I was the one who leaned in. Our knees brushed. Neither of us moved. Her hand hovered near my arm. Didn't touch. Almost did. You should go home, she said. Yeah, I whispered. I still didn't stand up. The power came back with a soft click. The overhead light felt loud. She moved first. Stepped back. Picked up her cup like it meant something. At the door, she said, very quietly, you make things difficult. I almost laughed. Almost said something foolish. I didn't. I just looked at her mouth for a second too long. She looked back. We stood there, too close. Breath. Silence. If we leaned, she turned away. I walked out without looking back. I don't know which of us was more relieved. We started walking instead of sitting. I don't remember who suggested it. Maybe neither of us did. It just happened. Side by side. Not touching. Close enough to feel the space. It was after work. The kind of evening where the sky looks tired too. She walked slower than me, so I matched her pace. I kept my hands in my pockets so they wouldn't shake. You've been avoiding me, I said. Not accusing, just stating a weather fact. I thought that was safer, she said. Silence after that. Our footsteps filling the gap. We reached the small park at the end of the road. There was a bench, paint peeling, still warm from the sun. We sat. She folded her hands together so tightly her knuckles changed color. I see you differently, she said, then stopped. Her mouth stayed slightly open, like she'd surprised herself. I didn't look at her. If I did, I think I would have broken. My son asked about you, she added. That's when it hit. Jealousy didn't feel loud. It felt cold, like someone touched something inside me without permission. What did you say? I asked. That you were busy, she said. Busy, like I was a schedule and not a feeling. I stared at the ground. A leaf moved when the wind passed. It felt too symbolic. I hated that I noticed. Sometimes I wish I'd never let you sit on those steps, she said softly. I laughed without humor. Me too. We kept doing that, saying the wrong thing to cover the right one. She picked at the edge of the bench. A small scratch. Kept tracing it. I don't know how to put you in my life, she said. You don't fit anywhere that won't hurt someone. That hurt more than silence. I leaned forward, elbows on knees, stared at my hands. I think about you, I said. It came out before I could edit it. She froze. Not moved. Not blinked. Just held herself. I kept going because stopping felt worse. When I walk past your gate. When I'm in my room. When the fan makes that stupid noise at night. Her breath went shallow. I could hear it. I imagined stupid things, I added. Not bad. Just quiet. Like sitting next to you without pretending. Silence stretched thin. She turned toward me slowly, like someone approaching a fragile animal. You don't know what I think about, she said. Her voice wasn't sharp. It was tired. I met her eyes. Tell me. She laughed. A small sound. Sad. I can't. Her hand moved toward mine. Stopped halfway. Hung in the air like a dropped thought. If she moved it one more inch, she pulled it back. You should leave before I stop being reasonable, she whispered. The air between us felt louder than traffic. I stood up. Slowly. She stayed seated. I stood in front of her, too close. She looked up, eyes lower than mine. Not weak. Just exposed. Neither of us stepped back. Her lips parted like she was going to say something else. She didn't. I waited. She waited. Everything waited. And the only question in the air was the one neither of us asked. What happens if we don't stop? She stopped answering. Not dramatically. Not loudly. Just quieter. Her gate stayed closed. The steps stayed empty. No tea. No, you walked too fast. No fingers adjusting my sleeve. At first I told myself she was busy. Then I saw the boxes. Small ones. Stacked near the front door. Tape peeling at the corners. A life being rearranged without asking me. Her curtains stayed shut. So I stopped slowing my walk past her house. I stopped checking for shadows behind the fabric. I stopped checking my phone for a name that wasn't lighting up anymore. That's what hurt the most. How easy it looked from the outside. Inside, I kept rewinding things that didn't exist anymore. The way she held a cup. The way she said my name once, softly. The bench. The almosts. One afternoon, I ran into her by accident. The grocery store. Same narrow aisle. Too close. She was holding a bag of rice. Her hair was tied back tighter than usual. No loose strands. Hi, she said. Hi. We stood like strangers pretending they hadn't memorized each other's breathing. I've been organizing things, she said. I didn't ask what things. My son might move back for a while, she added. There it was. The sentence that explained everything without saying anything. I smiled. I shouldn't have. I did anyway. That's good. She nodded. Looked down at the bag in her hands. Her fingers tightened. At the counter, she stood behind me. One step closer than necessary. Not close enough to matter. As I left, she said, take care. Not warmly. Not coldly. Carefully. That night, I typed a message. Then erased it. Typed another. Erased that too. How do you ask someone why they disappeared when you never had the right to exist in their life that loudly? How do you say, I got used to you, so I stopped showing up? I took different streets. Longer routes. Earlier buses. The city turned into something with fewer memories. And for a while, it worked. Until I saw the chair. The wooden one outside her house. Gone. Replaced by a plant. A quiet symbol of erasure. I stood there longer than I should have. My phone buzzed in my hand. Her name. A message. I opened it. It wasn't what I thought it would be. It said, "I'm sorry I got quiet." I was scared. I stared at the screen. My thumbs hovered. I imagined going back. I imagined ignoring it. I imagined everything staying unfinished. I closed the phone without replying. I didn't feel heartbroken. I felt paused. Like life forgot to finish the sentence. I went back. Not immediately. Not bravely. 2 days later, when the sky was dull enough to match how I felt. Her kitchen window was open. The curtain moved with the fan. It looked like nothing had ever broken there. I stood at the gate for a long time before knocking. She opened the door slowly, like she was afraid it might be someone else. "You came," she said. Not as a question. I nodded. My hands were in my pockets, so she wouldn't see them shake. The kitchen smelled like tea, and something burned a little. Toast, maybe. Time, definitely. She poured tea. Of course she did. That part of her survived. We didn't sit across from each other. We sat side by side, close enough for our arms to almost touch, not close enough to be accused of anything. "I thought you hated me," I said. She let out a breath that felt like it had been trapped for weeks. "I thought you'd forget me," she replied. Silence sat between us. Not heavy, not light, just honest. "I got scared," she said. "Not of you. Of myself." I stared at the floor. "I didn't know how much I looked forward to small things until I tried to stop," she added. I swallowed. "I left things unsaid too," I said. "Because saying them felt like breaking something." She nodded slowly. Like she understood. For a while, we just sat, listening to the fan make its tired sound, watching the tea cool without drinking it. Then she turned toward me. Not fast, not slow, just enough. "I don't want to hurt you," she said. "I don't want to be a secret someone's ashamed of." Her words weren't sharp. They were clean. I took a breath. "I don't want to be brave," I said. "I just don't want to keep pretending nothing happened." Her hand moved. It rested over mine. Not gripping, not pulling, just there. The room didn't change. The world didn't crack open. But everything inside me went quiet. She looked at our hands, then back at my face. "Is this okay?" she asked softly. I nodded. "Yeah." We didn't talk about futures. We didn't promise anything. We just sat there, shoulders touching this time. Her thumb moved once, lightly, against my skin. That small movement said everything we weren't ready to announce. After a while, she laughed quietly. "You're still folding things when you're nervous," she said, noticing the crumpled corner of a tissue in my other hand. I didn't even realize I was doing it. She smiled. A real one. Not wide. Not dramatic. Just tired and warm. I looked at her and felt something settle. Not a fire. Not a fantasy. Just a soft understanding that this mattered. When I stood to leave, she walked me to the door. We hesitated there. Not because we wanted more. Because we wanted to remember this moment as it was. Before stepping away, she said quietly, "Okay." Not like a question. Like an agreement. I nodded. "Okay." Tom didn't fix us. It just made the sharp edges softer. We didn't become loud people. We didn't suddenly tell the world. We just adjusted. Quietly. Like we always had. I started coming by in the mornings instead of evenings. Not every day. Not like a routine you can name. Just enough that the tea kettle somehow always felt warmer when I was there. It was usually 8:47 a.m. when I knocked. Not exactly. Just often enough for it to mean something. She'd open the door with that same tired smile and move aside without saying much. I'd sit at the kitchen table. She'd pour tea. Sometimes I brought black coffee in a paper cup and left it near her hand without comment. We didn't talk about what we are. We talked about small things. How the neighbor's dog barks too much. How the gate still squeaks. How the bench in the park has more paint missing now. That bench came back into our lives by accident. One afternoon, we walked past it. Just walking. No plan. "Sit," she asked. We did. Our shoulders touched. No apology. No tension. Just warmth. She didn't lean away. I didn't move closer. That's how peace looks, I think. One day, I asked her why she went quiet like she did. She stirred her tea longer than needed. "I thought wanting something meant I'd lose control," she said. "Turns out, I just needed time." I didn't tell her that I had stopped taking the long route home. or that I had stopped checking shadows behind curtains. Because now I had a place to be. Sometimes her son calls. Sometimes life gets noisy. Sometimes we don't see each other for a few days. But we always return to normal. Not dramatic normal. Real normal. Cold tea reheated in the microwave. Black coffee half finished on the counter. Her straightening my collar out of habit, even when it doesn't need it. One evening, while I was leaving, she handed me a small thermos. "Don't let it get cold on the walk," she said. I laughed. "You used to tell me I walked too fast." "You still do," she replied. I walked slower that night. Not because she asked. Because I wanted to stretch the quiet. She stood at the gate and watched me go. Not like she was afraid I wouldn't come back. Like she just liked the sight of me walking away calmly. Later, lying in my room, I thought about how strange it was. We never said the big words. Never made announcements. Never broke anything. We just stopped pretending. And somehow that was enough. The last time we sat at the kitchen table together, she touched my hand briefly and said, almost to herself, "We're quiet, but not empty." I think about that line a lot. Because she was right. We're not perfect. We're not loud. We're not a story people clap for. We're just warm. And sometimes, that's everything.